A lot of people still aren't sold on the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, for whatever reason, Milwaukee just is one of those teams that people just don't take seriously. You even see it in the media. Even though Milwaukee might beat Miami by 30 points, they'll talk about what's wrong with Miami. People talk about, well, what does Miami need to do to get better? What went wrong with Miami? But I think as the Milwaukee Bucks sweep the series, come back from a double digit deficit, and defeat the Miami Heat in game four, 120 to 103, and complete the sweep of the defending Eastern Conference champions. Bubble, yes, but they are or were the defending Eastern Conference champions. The question should really be, and the focus should really be, what has gone right with Milwaukee? Now, today, Brook Lopez had a great game. But if you look at Giannis' stat line, it's something like 20 points and 10 rebounds. Now, in the past, in order for Milwaukee to win by a big margin, Giannis had to have a dominant 38, 23 rebound, 5, 6 block performance. It looks great in the highlights. It looks great, when you're talking about the MVP award for individual performance. But, I notice a bias when it comes to guys like Giannis. With guys like Giannis, they win the MVP award based upon statistical domination, right? In the last couple of years, Giannis has been magnificent. 27 points per game, 30 points per game, 12 rebounds, 13 rebounds a game, 5, 6 assists a game, 2, 3 blocks a game, efficient, 55, 56% from the floor. His one caveat has been his subpar free throw shooting, which you can explain a little bit because, a little bit of it can be explained by the fact that he's gotten so much bigger, he's gotten stronger, and that can offset your free throw shooting. When you're used to being, let's say, 195, 200 pounds when you were younger, and then, all of a sudden, you're 245 pounds and you're a lot stronger, and you have to find, uh, your touch from the line. Now you're stronger and everything is, too strong. But anyway, now Giannis is not as dominant, or he doesn't have to be as dominant. But Giannis should still be in the consideration for MVP because don't we often say that the MVP should go to the best player on the best team? But with guys like Giannis, you just look at his numbers, you know? He almost has that Wilt Chamberlain malady where he puts up great numbers and people say, well, he's supposed to put up great numbers. Then when he doesn't score 30 points or 25 points, people say, well, why didn't he do it? But I credit the Milwaukee Bucks front office for finally getting some shit right. You know what I'm saying? They've made some very strange, head scratching moves over the last couple of seasons. And, finally, they put together a team that can make some noise. They've gotten better defensively. Uh, with the additions of Tucker and the addition, especially of Drew Holiday. Now, is Drew Holiday a superstar player? I wouldn't say he's a superstar, but he's a solid all-star level player. And he finally brings a dimension that has been missing from Milwaukee for quite some time. And that is a perimeter player who can not only create his own shot, but can create for others, but also be effective on the defensive end, which is something even I think he exceeds Malcolm Brogdon on. Middleton has also played better this year. He's been much more consistent than he's been in the past. He's shooting the ball more confidence, and he resembles the Chris Middleton that we saw 2 years ago when he played with Malcolm Brogdon. And look, Milwaukee has shooters. They have guys that can shoot the basketball, guys that can score. It's refreshing to see Bobby Portis, who unfortunately, Bobby Portis unfortunately had that situation, that incident. There was a black eye on his career, no pun intended, when he punched Nikola Mirotic in the face. Both of them were Chicago Bulls, and but Bobby Portis is playing very well for Milwaukee. Incidentally, Nikola Mirotic was a Milwaukee Buck a couple of years ago, but he's no longer in the NBA. He's playing overseas. So when you look at Milwaukee too, another point I want to add before I end this is they're a little bit younger overall, but also they're more athletic overall. The Milwaukee Bucks a couple of years ago, they had good shooters, but they weren't the most athletic team, and that hurt them on the defensive end. I remember their perimeter defense used to be pretty porous. They really were bad at guarding the perimeter and guarding the three. Now we're in a 3-point shooting league, so no matter how good your team's supposedly going to be, look, you could have a team of Gary Paytons and Dennis Rodmans, but with this league, as well as they shoot the three, this year they're shooting, I think, an NBA record 37% on average from three. We've never had a league with this many 3-point shooters. With the rules, you're going to have games where you're just going to knock them down. Okay, um, I'm amazed at how well these guys shoot from outside. People can nitpick about the NBA and not liking different rules, and I'm one of them. But to put this into perspective, the league average right now, from when I last looked at it, was about 37%, 36.7% on average, a player shoots from the perimeter. About 30 years ago, 1993, I think that average was about 33%. Doesn't sound like a big margin, but when you're shooting the three, that's a big difference, 33% from 37%. When Larry Bird was at his best in the mid 80s, the league average percentage wise was like 27, 28%. So the 3-point shot has not only become much more prolific as far as the attempts, but efficiency wise. You got guys that really specialize in shooting from outside, and not just shooting threes. These guys, are great scorers and have implemented the three into their repertoire. Whereas in the 1980s, until you started seeing guys like Dale Ellis, probably the first one, and then Glenn Rice and Reggie Miller. Before that, you just had guys who were great mid-range scorers, guys who were great scoring in the paint, guys who were great athletes and did all these wonderful things. But anyway, just wanted to go off on a tangent about that. But I think Milwaukee has a hell of a chance at beating the Nets. You know what I'm saying? I know that the Nets have these three pieces that people consider just the greatest. But let me just say this. The Nets have lost 20 something games this year. Now, yes, their big three didn't play a lot of the games together. And you could argue that if they played together, their number of losses would be far fewer. But this is a team that just lost to Boston. And during the regular season, the Nets beat them 2 out of 3 games. Excuse me, the Bucks beat them 2 out of 3 games. The one game that Milwaukee lost, I think Middleton or someone missed what would have been a game winner. It would have been 3-0. The last game of that series, the Bucks won by relatively easy margin, and Giannis shot 12 for 31 from that game. And any other year, if Giannis missed 19 out of 31 shots, there's no way Milwaukee would have beaten a team like Brooklyn. Now, truth be told, of course, in order for them to beat Brooklyn, they're going to have to beat Brooklyn at least once at Brooklyn. They're going to have to have their A game. Giannis is going to have to be extremely dominant. Um, Chris Middleton is going to have to score more than outside. He's going to have to be. He's going to have to be very efficient, and he's going to have to score something around, in my opinion, 24 points a game, 23, 24 points a game. Drew Holiday's going to have to average at least 19 or 20 or 21 points a game, depending on how it all falls together. And they're going to have to play well as a unit. They're going to have to be great defensively. They're going to have to hold their big three in check, and they're going to have to play well defensively overall. They can't let the others get off. You have to worry not consistently. You got to kind of hold Joe Harris in check. You can't let all these other guys get off. You know what I'm saying? But the problem is James Harden is a great playmaker, and he specializes not only getting his own shot off, but getting others involved. So to me, it's like you kind of have to pressure James Harden, you know. But then with that situation, well, I could just keep going on and on forever. I could talk about how doing that get Drew Holiday in foul trouble, and then that opens up the door for a lot of different other problems. But look, it's not time for that. That's going to be one hell of a series. But tell me what you guys think.